Good
I
talking.
would, I like, I'm assuming that those two guys. Oh, wait, no, never mind. Cregan is. We already passed Cregan's demise, but Mott, such a great character. I love his turn in the novel as well.
Oh, I love Maude. You know, my sister-in-law, that's her favorite character.
Mm.
And when it was time to write the third book, she says to me, she says, please don't kill Mott. And I said, you want me to kill Mott? And she says, no, I want you to not kill Mott. And I said, you know, I'm thinking about killing Mott. And she said, everything you're saying is the exact opposite of what I want. And I says, well, I'm just going to tell you this. If I kill Mott in the third book, you were the one who gave me the idea. So she didn't speak to me for a really long time, but in my opinion, totally worth it for the joke.
Oh my God.
No, Maud is great. Maud is great, but as a villain, Connor, I mean, the great thing that I love about Connor is if Connor were the narrator, if this was his story, Sage would be the villain. And Connor's, I mean, he's evil, but he's not wrong. In this twisted sort of way, Connor does sort of save Carthia. And
Mm.
I love that he's this very much in that gray area, because he's not wrong in his goals. It's just his execution of them that's horrible.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. And it's such a it's kind of a complex dynamic between the two of them. They kind of need each other to
Mhm.
fulfill the what needs to happen.
Yeah, yeah. And Connor just continues to play a role, just messing with Sage in so many ways. And so he
Mm-hmm.
just continues to evolve, and it'll eventually test his claim of, is he a patriot or is he in it for himself, which
Mm.
will get resolved. And I really love how that question gets resolved.
Mm.
So Connor continues to be an influence in the story.
Mm. Wow, now I wish that we will have this, although we can do this privately, but we had a fantastic time with Kevin, all this, and being, and he will do different voices. And so just it came alive so much more than if you just read it alone, I guess, although, that's your own fantasy world as well. But thank you so much. I don't know how to guide this further, so I'm letting Kevin, you take the lead.
I guess I'll just start. And again, that's it. For me, it's been really fun. For me, it's been really fun because these are characters that I would never get an opportunity to play. None of them. I guess should we just go into it and then we can.
Yeah, it seems that other people are not commenting at this moment. They are welcome to do it afterwards. Jennifer, you're welcome to be with us. To give you a moment, because I think I never introduced myself and Afterschool Village, and I feel a bit nervous, if you can tell, both because Kevin is here and you. I'm a therapist by profession, so I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, and I started this Afterschool Village as a nonprofit to which basically we do an in-person program, which now is suspended because of COVID, but it's exactly to offer parents locally support for parenting, and it's not just an after-school program, but it's a hub where we get to build community. We deal with issues of sustainability, anywhere from sustainable way of living, not just making your home green or helping the earth, but literally helping yourself, being, the dynamics of the family, connections with the community, and all of that. So that being said, I'm sort of,
Wow.
that's where we are. And we offered some classes for free classes since March for stay at home. For a period was a short summer camp, but we gave a lot of scholarships, and basically it all turned out being free. We had 10 classes in the second group, and 6 or 7 in the first group of classes. So that's where we are, and that's how we ended up. And Kevin basically introduced the book. And then my husband, Eric, decided, wow, let me see if actually the author will be interested in joining us. And that's how it happened. He got in touch with you. And thank you so much for accepting to
Oh my
come to
goodness.
our last session. Read.
Thank you for the honor and what remarkable work you're doing. What impactful, important work. So what a privilege to be part of this. Thank you.
Thank you as well. And Kevin, take it over.
Okay.
Okay.
Chapter 54. The ceremony to crown me king went by very quickly. Kerwin produced the book of faith, which Connor read from to administer the blessing of the king. When it was finished, Kerwin gave him a ring, which Connor placed on my finger. This belonged to King Egbert, Connor said. It was your father's. The king's ring. It was heavier than I'd expected, made of gold and imprinted with my family crest. It was too large and looked funny on my hand, like something I'd stolen rather than inherited through birthright. And then he lifted from a ruby red pillow my crown, still wet from having been washed. This is a prince's crown. A new one will be commissioned for you immediately, but it will do for now. He placed it on my head, and this time with much humbler and gentler hands than had crowned me at the inn. Connor went to his knees again and said, "Hail, King Jarin!" "Hail, King Jarin!" the audience echoed. "Be a better king than your father was," Connor said softly. "You come to the throne at a time of great upheaval." "There's always upheaval," I said. "Only the reasons for the troubles change." "Oh, you have the betrothed princess. She will support you." "She hates me." "So do I. And I just crowned you king." Connor smiled as he said it, but it probably wasn't a joke. "I kept my promise to you." "Oh, sorry, that's Sage. "I kept my promise to you," I said, still keeping my voice quiet enough so that only he could hear us. "You have the position you wanted." "You are the true king," Connor said. "You may place me anywhere you desire." "So I shall." Then, more loudly, I added, "I want the Prime Regent, Lord Bevan Connor, arrested for the attempted murder of Prince Jarin 4 years ago. Arrest him for the murder of an orphan boy named Latimer, and also for the murders of King Egbert, Queen Erin, and Crown Prince Darius." Whispers and hisses flew through the room. Connor turned to me with panic-stricken eyes. "No, I didn't." From a pocket of my jacket, I pulled out a small vial. "This is oil pressed from the Duvanis flower," I said. "It took me a long time to figure out what sort of poison might have killed my family. Entire nights searching through the books in your library. I'm not a great reader, that's true, but if the subject matter interests me, I can comb through books quite quickly. Oddly enough, I found the answer in a book in your bedroom. Duvanis oil is tasteless and requires only a single drop to produce a lethal dose, but it doesn't kill immediately. The person will go to sleep feeling fine and never wake up again. Duvanis oil is hard to come by, yet this was in a strong box in your office." Connor shook his head, and then his eyes darted left, and he thrust his hand inside his jacket. "As I always said, Sage, if I go down, so do you." But he failed to find what he was looking for. He drew back and searched his jacket. I released the cuff of my sleeve, and a knife he had hidden in his jacket fell into my hands. "If this is what you wanted, then I shall have to increase the charges against you." 2 guards appeared on either side of Connor, and each took his arm. I can't imagine the pleasure you must be taking in this moment, he said nastily. My temper flared. Pleasure? I'm staring at the man who killed my family. Whatever I feel now, trust that pleasure is the furthest thing from those feelings. You said you were my prince. Is this what that means to you? I am your prince, but I am Carthier's king. You'll understand why in the hierarchy of my titles, you must lose. Oh, why didn't you tell me from the beginning? If you had told me who you were, oh, then I couldn't have unmasked you. I'd have doomed my own rule just as my family was doomed. Behind me, Kerwin sighed. Addressing Connor, he said, What if Jaren had been only an orphan? Surely you couldn't have expected him to fool the court for long. He didn't need much time, I said, keeping my eyes on Connor. He needed a prince only long enough to get himself named Prime Regent. No matter what happened afterward, he would become the controlling power in Carthia. Well done, Connor said. Jaren was always described as a clever boy, but I underestimated you. I started to wave my hand to dismiss him, but Connor quickly added, You are guilty of crimes too, Your Majesty. Facing him full on, I arched an eyebrow. Oh. Even when you said you didn't want a throne, you were all that time plotting to get it. You lied to me. Anger surged through me, and I didn't disguise it well. I leaned close to him and hissed, I did tell you lies, Master Connor, but none of consequence. I was telling the exact truth when I said I had no desire to be king. If there were anyone, I felt I could take my place without the entire kingdom's collapse, I would gladly step aside. If I could return to be that boy you snatched from the orphanage, I'd leave now and never look back. If you knew what it meant to be king. I sighed and shook my head. Of all Carthians, I am the least free. And what of my freedom? Connor asked. Shall I beg for mercy? Beg mercy from the devils. I spoke more calmly now. You said you would sell your soul to them for this plan. Your plan worked, and the devils may have you. If the devils have me, then you are their king, Connor spat at me. I will forever curse the day we met. Take him to the prison, I told my guards. He will be there for some time. Connor, it appears you will be unavailable to fulfill your duties as Prime Regent, and therefore you are relieved of that position and stripped of your title as a noble. Once Connor was dragged out of the room, I directed the musicians to play. And then, exhausted, I fell into my father's throne. No, my throne. I was king now. The reality of that was incomprehensible. One by one, the various members of the audience came forward to greet me personally. I didn't know most of them, though I recognized several of their family names. They had been of little interest to me when I was 10 and weren't much more interesting now. You have come home to a country that mourned your loss for these past 4 years, Kerwin said, standing beside me. See your people celebrate you. Will you join them? It wasn't that simple. I'll still feel like the boy in the orphanage, I murmured. I'm lost here. But this is your home. I traced my finger along a carving in the armrest of the throne. It was my home, because my family was here. I'm alone now, and I don't know where to begin. You are still young, Jaren. Perhaps a steward would be appropriate. I'm king now. No one else. Kerwin dipped his head in acknowledgement of that and stared with me across the audience. Quietly, he said, "Not everyone will welcome your return. The enemies at our borders will feel tricked. There will be anger." I know. War is coming, Jaren. A fact I understood down to my very bones. Despite that, I looked up at him and cocked an eyebrow. But surely their spies cannot travel so fast as to ruin this night. There is still a little time to laugh. He started to object, but I stood and said, "They must see me laugh, Kerwin, at least for tonight." With that, I walked into the audience. Again, they parted for me. This time, I saw the person I'd been looking for all evening. Imogen stood at the back of the room, looking very small and frightened. When I approached her, she lowered herself into a bow and remained that way. "Please rise," I said. "It's still me." She obeyed, but shook her head. "No, I don't think it is." "How much did you see?" "All of it, Your Highness." "Must you call me that?" Her voice faltered. "I must." "Do you forgive me? Can you?" She lowered her eyes. "If you command it, then I will." "Oh, what if I don't command it?" "Please, don't ask that of me." Kerwin came up beside me. "And who is this, King Jaren?" I took her hand and led her to the center of the group. "She is a lady in disguise, just as I was disguised as an orphan for 4 years. She is Imogen, and her family has debts to Master Connor. She has fully repaid those debts to me these past 2 weeks in expert nursing care and compassion. Her father is dead, but using my power as king, I posthumously declare him a nobleman of Carthia. She is a nobleman's daughter and will be treated as such." Imogen shook her head. "No, don't. I cannot repay this." I turned to her and lowered my voice. "Imogen, you owe me nothing. You are free, and I wish you well in life." I gave her hand to Kerwin. "Will you see that she is given a comfortable room and dressed to fit her title? She may stay as long as she wishes, and at whatever point she asks it, see that she is provided a way home." She smiled through her tears and bowed to me. "Thank you, King Jaren." I smiled back at her. "Thank you, Imogen. I wouldn't have survived these past 2 weeks, except for you." Kerwin led her away, but when he looked back at me, I could almost see a new weight fall upon his shoulders. Difficult times were ahead. For Carthia and for me. But even pending war should never ruin a good party. With a smile on my face, I turned to the group and said, "Carthians, tonight I am home again. Let it be a celebration. Tonight we dance." And that, friends, is the end of the first book in the False Prince series.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Wow.
Oh, that was
Guys,
wonderful.
Mute yourselves and say something.
It was amazing, actually.
Fantastic culmination of it. Watch out.
Would Will there be a reading of the second one or not?
Let's not put Kevin on the spot on this. But you,
Well, I'm definitely going to take a little break from our Thursdays. We've been going since early March, I think. But possibly, I think I'm as big a fan of the series as you guys are now. It's been so fun. And thank you guys for these Thursday. For me, this has been an awesome ritual. Thursdays, 1 p.m. Pacific.
Is story time.
so talking about creating community, I mean, Raphael is all the way from France, somewhere in France. I mean, by now she knows.
I'm near,
right?
I'm near Dijon.
Right. I know that now. Pam, can you say something? Come on, because Pam is joining us from.
I'm just north of Toronto in Canada.
Yes, and we have a regular viewer from Pakistan as well.
Yes, we had from
who was having to stay up until like 1 or 2 a.m.
and Germany. So we had
and from Denmark.
And Denmark.
Oh, great!
Really?
Who's from Denmark?
I am Ida.
Oh, Ida. Hi, Ida.
Hi.
Fantastic. So here we are, an international audience.
I already thought I'll take the cake for the furthest one than Dan. So I think she's even further away.
Yes, we know Pakistan will have to be the one furthest. But thank you so much for everybody to join us every Thursday. Kevin, many thanks. And you're always welcome to continue at any time you want. But thank you for this one.
Thank you so much, Raduca, for organizing this. And thank you, Jennifer, for allowing us to use your work for this. It really has been such a pleasure.
Well, it was a complete joy to hear it performed so well. So thank you for applying your talents to it and your intelligence and your enthusiasm for the series. I appreciate that, Raduca. Thank you for building this masterpiece that allows this conversation to be had all over the world. That's phenomenal.
Thank you. And I'll certainly spread the word about the book. And I mean, personally, certainly to my group and to families that we help, and we'll keep in touch. Let's end on that note. That we'll certainly keep in touch, and if we continue, we'll let you know. And all the best. Stay safe, stay healthy. Thank you so much. I'm gonna miss you all. And take care.
Until next time, everybody.
The next time.
See you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.